We just saw Into the Storm, and on this show I take my friends out, we see a movie, we do a quick spoiler-free review in the car, and then once that's out of the way, we go into more of a discussion, which will have spoilers. So if you're on the fence and you haven't decided if you want to see this movie or not, you can watch the first part and find out whether it's something that we recommend. And if you have seen the movie, or if you have no interest in seeing it and just want to know what we thought about it to save you some money, you can listen to our discussion and find out what we thought. So I had very low expectations about this movie. To me, it looked like it was going to be a really cheesy, The Asylum style of over-the-top action movie. I thought it was going to be a lot of shaky CG, tornado effects, and over-the-top stuff going on. I didn't expect there to be a lot of character development. You know, there aren't any huge name actors or actresses in the movie, and so I kind of went in with very low expectations. And while the movie's not like a masterpiece or anything like that, it's very good for what it is. It does keep you on the edge of your seat the whole time. The character development it's spare, but it's there, and it's good enough. And the effects I thought were fine for what this movie is. I don't think they were overly silly or overly, fake looking. It does completely break, every rule of physics that it possibly can break. And there are some cheesy things in it. There are some comic relief characters and all that, but it's a decent movie for being a movie about dozens of tornadoes that attack a small town and they kind of follow people around. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been
It's
great.
a lot.
Yeah.
But anyway, for what it was, I enjoyed it, and I would say that it's definitely worth a rental, if not something that you go and have a good time seeing if you're into thrillers and that kind of thing. So, what'd you guys think?
I really liked it too. I think it was a perfect Friday night movie. Like, if you really want to get outside of whatever you've been dealing with all week and just escape and just enjoy a movie for what it is,
Yeah.
I thought it was perfect for that. Like, you get sucked into it.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Terrible tornado pun. But no, I thought it was...
Yeah, your own little twist to that, didn't you?
Yeah, so I liked it.
I thought it was a really good movie. I think it's one of those, like you said, red box it, whatever. Maybe a bargain bin buy. Definitely not a day one purchase, but it was fun. It was fun. The visual effects were amazing. I really, really enjoyed the visual effects, but
You can tell that's where they spent their money.
Are they playing it in 3D anywhere? Because that I
don't
thought
think
would
so.
be interesting. Like,
I
to
don't
see
think they
some of
bothered.
that.
it would have been interesting. I think it would definitely have been even more enjoyable on the IMAX screen. With that being said, I honestly don't feel that anybody that made that movie picked up a book and actually read what a tornado does, because they didn't even get it right till the end. A tornado doesn't really suck things up, it pushes them away.
Yeah, but they made something that was visually interesting as opposed to factually accurate.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go like 20 seasons of Storm Chasers and never see like 5 minutes that are as interesting as 5 minutes from this movie. So
True. The movie was great, and they had an awesome tank. So I mean, hey, it doesn't get better than a tank and tornadoes.
there you go.
And a tornado of flames.
Yeah.
Sorry, spoiler.
Don't spoil the
So
flame
sorry.
tornado.
Wow.
You're killing us.
That
here.
was the best part.
First
Don't suck all the joy out of it.
He's like, well, you wouldn't tell me.
That's the review part. So if
yeah.
you want to stick around and hear more about what we thought, potentially getting into spoilers, that's what happens now. If you don't want to do that, don't let us ruin the movie before you go out and see it, before we talk about it. So, yeah, I mean, basically, anything beyond this point, like, I didn't expect the characters to be very well developed, and they're fine. I mean, the actors that are in it are good. There's the two redneck yokels that are sort of there for comic relief that are not really connected to anything else, but they get a big laugh when they do their stunt before the tornadoes come in. They get big laughs whenever they show back up. It's like every time you see them on the screen, it's like, okay, the movie's going to take a break and like make us laugh for a minute here, you know. So it's not just this continuous.
Adds a little bit of levity,
ramping up the stakes and all of that over and over again. The body count is very low, and the like blood factor is almost non-existent.
I think there's like one cut in the entire movie.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a PG-13, you know, action movie. It's not an R, but even for PG-13, they've like Hercules was PG-13, and that has a lot more violence in it than this does, or at least a lot more like death, you know, dismemberment, that kind of stuff, which I was also surprised by. I kind of expected this to be like a fairly heavy casualty, or that they would take, you know, when they do start, or it's not like they kill off a ton of them, but there's a couple of like the main characters that get killed, and those aren't like turned into glorified, you know, disaster porn kind of stuff. It's more
which main character?
There's only 2 characters that died that I counted.
There was the cameraman that got pulled up into the flame tornado, and there was the guy,
the main storm chaser,
the guy in the tank,
yeah,
that died. There were other people that got sucked in that weren't like named characters.
Red shirts. They were red shirts.
Yeah, there were a couple people, but they didn't glorify any of that. They didn't make any of that like, you know, we're going to show you this really cool scene of this guy getting ripped in half. It was like, no, they just sort of fly through the air and disappear. And I
think probably as gruesome as it got was the camera stayed on the cameraman that got pulled into the fire tornado for a while.
Yeah, you sort of saw like his shape on fire.
Yeah, that was probably about as gruesome as it got, unless of course you're counting the girl's cut on her leg, which was the only blood in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that in a G-rated movie.
Yeah. You know,
'cause you didn't see it happen, so
like we were talking on the way out to the car, I didn't feel that there was much writing to it. You said that you thought the writing was pretty good. I didn't feel that there was much writing. The only character development I felt that there was were between the father and the 2 sons. And maybe between, well, not really between the girl and the boy that were trapped.
No, but
the whole
like
storm chasing team.
Yeah, I was gonna say the team in the Titus. I thought
they all got exposition. They all got a bit of characterization. The Lori from The Walking Dead, I don't know that actress's name, but like,
I think it's like Sarah Wayne Callies or something.
That's right. She's talking to her daughter and her mom, I think, on the Skype and everything. And there's that whole sort of interaction where the crew's kind of against Pete, which is why, like, Pete using the tank to try and save people versus try and get out and get his shot.
It's a little bit more redemption than would be just...
Yeah, than would be if you just, like, you know, if they shot it like a slasher movie and it was just, you sort of get to know these characters for a couple of seconds, but they're going to get killed, so, like, we don't want to get anybody attached to any of these people.
There were a couple things I didn't understand, and it was actually towards the end, right after the church where the fire tornado happens.
Yeah.
The black guy that had been driving the van the entire movie disappears. You never see him again. I didn't see him at the end.
No, I'm trying to remember.
Like, he has that big speech about
it
was my fault,
his fault,
and then you never see him again.
He says he's going to stay with the family.
Oh, right, the parents of Jake.
Oh, I guess I missed it.
Yeah.
So he's not. Yeah, he said he was going to stay behind and try and get them. And I think at the time you kind of assume that he's going to still be around in some degree, but because they take all the cameras, that they stop. Because the whole frame is that the movie follows the cameras where the cameras are going, and so he's not part of the movie anymore.
And then the last scene with the storm drain, where as they're driving up to the storm drain, there's a bunch of people on that bus. And then when they're going to get in the storm drain, there's only like 7 people that get off the bus.
Yeah.
where'd everybody go?
When the tree falls
Yeah,
and there's
I don't
like a couple of cars and a bus, yeah.
Yeah.
None of that stuff bothered me. I mean, it's just sort of like you just don't know what's going on. And they did the thing where like the tornado was coming up against the church, and then like the battery ran out, and it just cut to like a little while after the tornado had passed. Like the glass was all shattered out in the stained glass, and they just cut some things out from there. But
it was definitely
I wouldn't say it.
Yeah.
It's not really a found footage movie per se. It's more of a point of view movie, where the characters are supposedly holding the cameras that you're watching the movie on, which is different than found footage. It's not like, amateur video that they found of these people after they died kind of thing. It's more of they're shooting this documentary and they just happen to be like capturing all of these things that can be edited into a movie.
And I think they actually did a decent job of making the relationships and the interactions between people realistic. Like, I sort of thought, and I was going to be disappointed if they had the dad and the weather girl hook up. Like, I sort of thought that was coming, and
yeah,
and it didn't, and so they didn't make it.
That would have felt very tactile.
Right. It would have been over the top. I think they did a good job of sort of, we went through this thing together, and it was hard, and we're relating to each other. But
that's what I mean about the writing, is that what's typical in a movie like this is they write just enough to make the scene not completely fall apart. Like, there's barely enough to like set up a joke or to be like, oh, he doesn't like you anymore kind of thing. Like, that's all you get. And this felt very much like there's stuff that happened before the cameras start rolling, and there's stuff that happens after. Like, it's written ahead and before.
It was like you got a snapshot. Like, here's this moment in these people's lives.
Yeah.
Because, they build up at the beginning of the movie about the boy really liking this one girl. And then he's stuck with her. But there's so much going on, he never gets to tell her how he feels.
Right.
And outside of them holding hands in one scene, you really don't know, what's going to happen with him. He might never tell her how he feels, and I thought that was pretty interesting to just leave it at that. Here's a snapshot. Here's what happened, and then we walk away.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool.
That lends to it feeling more realistic instead of, somebody wrote this ending. It doesn't feel like somebody wrote an ending to a movie. It feels like they all survived this together, and they're happy they survived it. And they're not going to sit around and say, well, in 25 years, I think we'll be married and have a couple kids. Like, that's creepy. That's not what's going to happen.
Like, this is the first time we just hang out.
But really.
Yeah.
We've never hung out before.
I did hug you, but we were about to die.
You don't actually know my last name, do you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she called me Buddy, for the first half of the movie, and my name's Scott. I don't know.
Well, that is Into the Storm. Hope you enjoyed our review. Please like us, subscribe to us on YouTube here, and check out all the written and video reviews at dalemaxfield.com. Thanks for watching.